Hello, good day. My name is Lucky Luck Luke. You can catch me on Twitch on Lucky Luck Luke 2. And today we're going to be doing the class tutorial on the Lich. Been a while since I've been wanting to do this, so here we go. First, I'll just give a description of the character. An agent of the Sulka known as the Immortal. Azreus is the corpse of a Horde Zul warrior, reanimated by his master's immense psionic powers. In life, Azreus was a valued servant of the Immortal and commanded his forces in the Winter Wars. When Azreus fell in battle, the Immortal preserved his essence and gave him a chance to redeem himself. He must steal the zombie vaccine for his master and thwart the Bloodweaver's plans. Only when he completes the quest can he return to life and be granted a new living body. Alright, so let's jump in there. Just going to do the tutorial on hard. So this is the Lich character. So the first thing you'll probably notice is that he has no food bar. So the reason for that is he does not consume food. So whenever you eat food, instead of getting satiating your hunger, you will actually get instantly healed for the amount of food that it gives you. So if you eat this, it'll heal you for 80. So let's take a look at his starting gear. He starts with pretty standard armor, kind of low durability, and average armor. Starts with a snub pistol, really nice weapon. Starts with the Prana Dagger, which is a melee weapon that attacks twice. Very good against organic targets, as it also drains health. And starts with the Pride Blade, which similar. It attacks once and drains psionic powers from living creatures. He starts with 5 EMP grenades, which is really good. A couple grenades and some crystal stuff, which we'll get into later. And yeah, these are the Psionic Skills. He starts with a skill called Soul Crush, which is a unique ability that will deal 25 damage, and if you kill an organic, or not organic, an intelligent being with it, you will capture an Etai crystal, which can be used for crafting. Yeah, crafting. Starts with Life Sense, Manipulation, Berserk, pretty high War Mind, no Mech Empathy, and some Resistance. Skills. So let's just start by getting all this stuff on the toolbar, how I like it. Okay, so one thing you'll notice about the Lich is that as he moves around, instead of consuming food, he consumes psi points and health points. So your health points and psi points will constantly be draining, so you kind of want to keep moving. So he doesn't have a food bar, but he kind of does in another sense, because your health and your psionic points become your food. Alright, so let's just go through this first floor, punch some penguins, because why not? Ah, he healed. Let's get this here. So one thing you're going to want to be doing early on, actually, is taking off your armor, as most classes. You kind of want to preserve your armor durability if you can. So every time you kill an enemy, you regain a bit of psionic points back. One thing to keep in mind, not health points, just psionic points. Which I think is a shame. I feel like it would have been nice if you got a bit of health points as well. This only applies for organic units. Alright. So this character, as you guess, is very unique compared to a lot of other characters. So these things, shadow bats, are actually quite dangerous. Anything that drains psi is dangerous because your psi pool is extremely valuable. So you don't want to let these things touch you, because getting your psionics drained is like losing health. So like a lot of other classes, you're probably going to want to spend the first few floors punching to preserve the durability on your weaponry. It starts with 5 nano reconstructors, which help keep everything in good order, in good working order, and also sharpening kit also keeps your these 2 weapons in good working order. One thing I managed to do in my last run, this thing has a bio mod I actually got durability up on the Prana Dagger, and I don't regret putting it there. It's actually, this weapon is very, very useful throughout the whole game. And I'll kind of go into details in a few moments as to why. So, especially early in the game, you kind of want to use your Psi pool as a health pool, because you don't need your Psionic that much for the first few floors. So right now, as you can see, I'm at 0 health. So when you're at 0 health, your health will drain quicker. Your Psi will drain quicker. So instead, I lost 6 Psionic points just from taking a step there, which is fine. So, because early on you're going to be leveling up quickly, so your health pool is sort of less important. Shoot this guy at least once. So you can use the Pride Blade to keep your psionics up, aka health. So one good thing to point out is at the end of like a combat, one thing I like to do is I like to try to kill the last enemy, organic enemy anyways, with the Prana Dagger. The reason for that is that, so now I have a bit of health, not much, 3 health, so that when I'm walking to my next combat, I don't have the penalty where my psionics drain extremely quickly. So I'm going to Prana Dagger this as well, just to get that health up. So you kind of want to keep your health low early on, and use the Prana Dagger or a bit of food to move from one combat to the next, so that you're not suffering from the dying status. Alright, so we're just going to try to get to the next floor. I think I'll skip the first floor. So usually I would always explore this entire floor, but for tutorial's sake, I'm just going to jump right to the next one. So you want to manage your level ups very well on this character, because they're very valuable. The getting a full sidebar and a full health bar means a lot on this character, because that's like your food, basically. Armor is also very important on this character, because mitigating damage means a lot, because you cannot rest, because there's no rest for the wicked. Alright, so we're going to reload our weaponry. One thing I generally do, which I haven't been doing so far, is well, I haven't been any appropriate targets, but I generally spam Crush Soul Crush quite a bit. In the early game, I feel like it's pretty good damage for what it does. Soul Crush is similar to, it's not like TK Fists where it guarantees to do damage. It rolls a power roll, so you have to beat their power for it to land. So sometimes it doesn't land. So we're gonna use Crush Soul on him just to save ammunition, and we need to level up anyways, or else we're gonna double level. So again, you don't want to level right away. If you can avoid to, try to only level once you're like about to die. This does have its risks, because you know, if you're not careful or you step on a land trap or something sneaks up on you, then you're in trouble. So after we forge this desk, we're gonna level up. Talk about his level up skills, how I like to level. Okay, so there you go. Level, got a full health bar, full psi pool. So I like to go for stats. He gets 1 stat point, 5 skill points. So I like to start with Might 30. He has pretty low Might and Finesse, similar to the Shepherd. Very high brains, very high power. The power actually could be higher, because he's very reliant on psionics, but you can't really afford to level this, sadly. You generally have to focus on these two. So I like to get Might 30, and then after that, depending on what equipment I find, I'll either keep pumping Might or pumping Finesse, one of the two. Finesse 60 is a nice, will allow you to use pretty much all weaponry. But Might, on the other hand, there's some things that require like 50 Might or 60 Might, so it's near impossible to get enough. So you have 5 points. So some of the extremely important psionics are Empathy. I like telekinesis. You can possibly skip it, but I don't think after a few playthroughs, I feel like telekinesis is worth it. Same with Warmind. You could leave Warmind what it is, but I like to get Life Drain on him. Do not think that Resistance is worth it because it's a very expensive side tree, and your side tree, your side pool is very valuable. So I don't think Resistance is worth it, nor Mech Empathy. Maybe Mech Empathy is worth it because it's extremely powerful. It takes a long time to invest in it, but I don't think you can spare the points. I like level forging. Get that to around like 80 on this side is usually the number I go for. And with the last point, we're gonna let it sit. There's nothing much we want to level here. You could possibly level blade or knife a bit. I wouldn't invest too heavily into it, but it's not a bad investment. Pistol, I wouldn't invest in that unless you find like a Corrasion or something. What I would suggest you invest in eventually, once you stop leveling those psionics, once you get those psionic skills where you need them, I would suggest that you level mechanical. There's a lot of important mechanical crafts and a lot of containers that use a mechanical skill. Depending on the tools you find, you might want a bit of computer for better repairs, not too much. Same with electronics, not too much. I wouldn't go past 50 is probably the level I would leave that at. Decipher is good in the later game, so you eventually want to get Decipher, but that's far, far away. His biotech is just fine where it is. Maybe like 1 or 2 points in there. I don't want to get that too much higher. It is very useful though. But yeah, and medical is nearly useless on this character, so I would not get that. So yeah, I leveled up, so he gets a lot of health per level. I got 25 health, which ain't too bad. And I didn't see how many side points he got, but I'm assuming it's a fair amount. So he's quite a tanky character, actually, and because his side pool becomes his health pool if you mess up and take a bunch of damage that you didn't expect. So let's talk about his Psionic Skills a bit. The biggest one is, especially on this character, is Side Drain. Draining the enemy's psionic powers means you live longer. Because your psionic pool is extremely important. I would level TK, telekinesis abilities, up until Sharpstorm. Once you unlock TK Fist, I would not start spamming it though. The reason I don't want to spam it is because your side pool is your health pool, and it's better to use your weaponry instead of TK Fist for this character. Once TK Fist is very strong, then it becomes sort of worth it. But I wouldn't spam it as soon as you unlock it because it's pretty expensive. The Warmind tree is I'm not sure if it's worth it. I like it. You don't necessarily need to go down this tree. I would go all the way to Puppet because if you're investing in it anyways. Life Drain is a very interesting skill on this character. If you're in a situation where you're getting lots of Psi, you can convert Psi into health, which is kind of important because health only comes to you by eating food. And that becomes, you start consuming a lot of food in the later floors when you start taking a lot of damage, especially if you don't have armor. Life Drain is an interesting skill I'll talk about a bit because it's like Soul Crush or Fear. It rolls your power against their power, so it needs to land, not like TK Fist where it just deals damage for sure, guaranteed, unless you get a 1% miss. I think it has a 1% chance to miss. But the positive things of Life Drain is that it actually ignores armor. So this is very good against organic units that have armor, like snakes, cyborgs are a few examples. Really good targets for Life Drain. The bad thing is that it costs a heck of a lot of psionics, so you need to be careful because psionics, your side pool is very precious. But all in all, very good. Same with Puppet, very, very powerful, very, very expensive, so you need to be careful with that as well. So let's talk about his Necrotech skill a bit. The Lich is the only class who has access to Necrotech. Now what Necrotech is, you can actually craft, well, it depends on your Soul Crush. No, it doesn't affect Soul Crush, never mind. But when you use Soul Crush, you have a chance to level it up. So Necrotech is used for crafting a few things. So he has access to 3 pets. In general, the pets are kind of bad. The only pet I kind of like is the cheapest one. I'll get into details as to why they're kind of bad, but the cheapest one isn't too hard to craft. It's generally worth it early on. Uses a tainted meat, which is, it's 60 health, so it will generally tank almost as much or deal a bit of damage. So it's not that bad. The biggest cost is probably the bindings. Uh, Depending on how your run's going, your bindings can become kind of valuable. The AI of your pets are kind of stupid, and so that's another reason why they're not so great. But this pet's not too bad. Also, these things are Edite crystals are very easy to farm and make, so the cost of making them is relatively low. So this pet isn't too bad. Won't be showing the pets because, well, I probably won't have the opportunity to. Now, the problem with the other 2 pets, I've only made one of them, I think this one, and he was pretty bad, is the cost involved in making them. Very disappointing into how they made these. Both of these require Etai vessels to craft. Now, Etai vessels are ridiculously valuable. I'll go into details why. The Etai vessel, basically, what it does, it will automatically fill up your... If you use it, it'll automatically fill up your psionics from 0 to 100%. On top of that, it'll constantly fill it up to full for the next, like, 6 or 7 turns, making you basically immortal for about 5 to 8 turns. So you basically use this. If you use this item, you gain immortality for about 5 turns, 6, 7 turns, something like that. You probably want to use this when your health is at 0 and you're in trouble, and don't use these loosely because they're extremely good, and also focus on crafting these because they're awesome. So how you craft them is... This is the recipe here. So on this character, sonic nodules are actually very valuable, and neural webbing is crafted using raw meat and acid sac. So focus pretty hard on making these. Etai crystals are pretty easy to make, craft, farm, so there isn't much value to them. So sonic nodules are the big, kind of like probably what's going to be limiting you the most here to craft as many of these as possible. So that's that about the Etai crystals. So being undead, this character is also immune to a lot of things that are annoying for other classes. So he's immune to fear, poison, disease, and that's about it. He can get knocked out from like knockout gas and knockout needles, so keep that in mind. Also, as a side effect to being undead, fire, I believe, from what I've seen, fire also deals, I think, double damage to you. So be very wary of fire enemies because they hurt. And so his, yeah, when I leveled up, I had 1 stat point, 5 skill points, which is relatively slow. Not the worst. It's close to the Morigi, so it's a bit better than Morigi, but not by much. So his growth is generally kind of slow, but all of his skills are starting skills are pretty good. Assault weapon's a little low, rifle's a little low, but nothing crazy. So, and everything else is like 35, 35, 35. So you'll get them to 45 pretty soon, and once you get your psionic skills leveled up where you want, you'll have 5 points to put where 5 points isn't too bad of amount of skill points. And he also starts with 3 lockpick sets, which is pretty sweet. Just noticed that. He starts with Lure and Siren. I guess I can talk about these items. They're pretty powerful, but the problem is I usually have a hard time carrying them around because your inventory space is a bit limited, but so this one, mindless creatures will be attracted to it. So let's use it right now and show you how it does. So this is a mindless creature. He's just going to sit there and do nothing. Even if he was a ranged enemy, he would not attack me. So that leaves me free to attack it. If you get into melee range with it, it should attack you. Oh, it only attacks you if you attack it first. That's something I didn't know. At least that's what it looked like. Either that or it was derping. Oh no. Yeah, so they will attack you melee in melee range if you're next to them. So the siren is the same thing, but for intelligent creatures. I don't know if humans are intelligent. Looks like they are. Apparently humans are intelligent. And allows you to freely kill them. So they're pretty powerful. Bit hard to craft, but I don't remember how to craft them, to be honest with you. But kind of hard to carry around. And yeah, I think that's about all I can talk about for the Lich. Yeah, I think that's about it. Maybe I could talk about door traps a bit. Door traps are kind of, I'd say, broken on this character. I won't go into too many details, but psionic cleanser traps and psi charge traps are insanely valuable because that is your food pool, basically. So you can infinitely have an infinite amount of time by just kind of using these traps to your advantage. So suggest if you do find traps, door traps, make sure you identify them safely and use them accordingly. And on a random side note, madness traps, you can side drain the clones, or not the clones, the images. Just a random tidbit of information. So one more time, I'm gonna level up. Just gonna go through again how I level them. I'm gonna put Warmind, TK, Empathy. I got Fear already. That's nice. Yeah, Warmind, TK, Empathy, and then that leaves you 2 points elsewhere. And I don't want to level anything yet until everything gets up to 45, other than foraging. And well, it costs 2 right now. I wouldn't do this normally because I didn't forage anything on my whole level, which is really rare. But we're gonna level that anyways. So, yep, I think that'll conclude the Lich tutorial. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and you guys take care. And make sure to check me out on YouTube and on Twitch. And I hope to see you in my chat. Much love. Bye bye. Okay, that's done.